Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a comic book show where we talk comic books from the past week, and we talk about them and review them and tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. Plus, we pick out a book of the week, tell you what was exceptional this week, or what is exceptional from the smattering of books that we read.
Yeah.
Of course, we also are sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using Super Chats. Ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show and be part of it. That segment is towards the end of the show because we want to make sure that everybody gets read. And I want to dedicate some time just to you guys. In addition to that, we also, of course, do a number of things here on youtube.com/ComicPop Returns. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, click the bell for notifications, and follow us on all of our various YouTube and social media places. You can also watch Tiffany, our intrepid co-host here on Off the Rack, play video games on youtube.com at ComicPop Plays or twitch.tv/ComicPop if you prefer the purple channel versus this whole enterprise.
Heck yeah.
There's no balance or
there isn't
or need.
I have both chats open.
Yeah, exactly.
I try to talk with everybody.
Precisely. But yes, so before we get into our comics, I wanted to mention this interesting piece of news or trivia or discussion that is happening right now. James Gunn came out. He was like, all right, I'm done shooting Superman. Like, Superman's done. We're all set. And I'm excited about it. But he also wanted to mention, apparently, like the reasoning behind being basically a year ahead of time is because he wants to give the VFX department time to do their job properly. And that's basically just don't put them under the crunch, which is what Marvel loves to do.
Sure.
And he's like, there's a reason why, he didn't necessarily say this out loud, but he's like, there's a reason why my movies look a little better.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I give those crews the time.
Yeah.
To work on.
I mean, it only benefits everyone.
Exactly. Like he said, quote, if you do some research, you'll see my films have always taken a different approach, and I always given my VFX artists collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve. And the quality of the VFX in those films is uniformly great because of it, and because my friends at Weta and Framestore and ILM are amazingly talented.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fair. That's a good point, man. Like, that's a good idea. And I think, the concept is solid. It's how it gets done. I saw an interesting apropos of that. The director of Godzilla -1 was also a VFX artist and worked diligently alongside the VFX department. And in fact, I think there were over 600 VFX shots in Godzilla -1, and that
I can only imagine.
That director was like there's footage of them working side by side with those VFX artists because I think there were over 30 people working on it, and just being there like with those shots and making sure that those shots got like the attention they deserved, and more importantly that the VFX artists had the time and the comfort that they require in order to deliver a really solid product.
Yes,
that's the case with I think with most. That should be the case with most VFX heavy movies. That should be the standard. And I don't know. I would love to know, because I found that The Eternals, a movie that was announced recently, will not be getting a sequel.
What?
Marvel came out and said,
I'm shocked.
I know.
I'm shook.
That they removed Eternals 2 from the slate, and we will not be seeing any return of.
That's a shame. I really liked it quite a bit.
I did too.
I don't. It's not like I'm like, I don't understand.
It's an outrage.
What? How could this be?
No, it's understandable why they didn't do it. The movie cost like a lot of money and didn't make any money back, and people largely hated it and found it like boring. And so I get it. And it's like, I know. I knew it wasn't going to do well, and I knew people were going to find it boring when they said we're doing Eternals. And it's a shame because the movie was pretty good. And one of the things that I would like to know is whether the director was as involved with the VFX as some of these other folks were,
right? Because
it looked better than most Marvel movies, like in terms of VFX and in terms of uniformity. Like it looked considerably better. The VFX were just a higher caliber, or maybe they were just more consistent throughout the flick, and so as a result you just felt like, oh wow, like this just looks better,
right?
And I wonder how involved the director was in those particular in that aspect. And I love that. I think that's fantastic. And also, of course, the Marvel style right now in Marvel Studios is the direct, at least rumor has it, that the directors like have to hand off the action sequences to the VFX department. They're just like, oh, why don't we shoot those? You keep it. We have a house style they take care of it. Maybe they're even set up ahead of time, before we even have a movie. They already are starting to work on those scenes. And I understand that she was like integral to the action sequences, which also made the movie feel more connected.
Absolutely. But yeah, the speedster.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The whole movie, everything about it was like really good looking and interesting, and more interesting than the last few things Marvel has given us. But yeah, so
Deadpool
and Wolverine. Well, no, Deadpool and Wolverine was not interesting. It just satisfied an itch.
I'm just saying, like, before people are like,
yeah. Right. So, but I'm excited for Superman. The interest of James Gunn. I'd love it to be a trend. Certainly, I'd like to see that be a DC staple. Being that James Gunn's in charge of the studio, the hope is, as long as Warner Brothers isn't sold three times before Superman comes out, that that James Gunn can like apply that.
Right. Regardless of why he has said it. Right.
Yeah.
The fact that he has said it is really important.
Right. No, he's like setting a precedent.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's important to do this. I'm doing it, and I'm a largely successful creator. Maybe they should do that.
Regardless of if he's like, because I want it to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even if it's self-serving or whatever, the fact that he's saying it will make it so that people moving forward, the overall the like movie going population, will question potentially like. Yeah. Hey, did you give those people enough time? Like, did these artists have enough time to do this?
Yeah.
Were you thoughtful of that whatsoever? No. Okay, great.
So shockingly enough, and I also understand that there's also there's a convenient form of timing. James Gunn talking about treating artists and VFX departments better during a time when the animators groups are together right now. Making their voices heard and protesting themselves. And it's like, yeah, you know what? VFX is art. It is animation. It's, whether he's aware of it or he's trying to send a message or not, it speaks volumes. He can't necessarily go across the picket line and talk to them about it, but he, or speak on their behalf, but he can kind of like in solidarity say, these are the decisions you need to make in order to make a better living environment for your creators.
Right. I mean, that's kind of it's across the board in almost any job. Right. But VXF people, like, you think when you're like watching the credits, you kind of gloss over at that point. But like, think about the number of names that are on there. You think about it, you're like, oh yeah, it's like computer, whatever, it's done. Yeah, it's all on the computer, right? And it's like. I'm not going to pretend to fully understand because I know I don't, but it's like blood, sweat, tears, and an ungodly amount of hours to do that stuff.
Exactly.
Which is why like sometimes I feel bad when we make fun of when it's laughable, but I'm like, come on.
You're right.
There's such a standard.
No, it's so true.
That's so many people's fault.
Yes. So yeah, I'm excited for Superman, and saying that makes me even more excited because like regardless of the concept, the idea, what the story will be, we're gonna get like every detail about this movie before it releases.
100%, which is really unfortunate. I'm really like trying to stay away from all of it, but we have to do this show. So.
Exactly. But also I think we know that like it will at the very least look really good or uniformly good.
Hopefully yes.
I mean, my expectation it'll look as good as any James Gunn Guardians movie.
I feel like Gunn understands the importance of this as like the first like the volleying shot, basically. Like
totally.
Yeah.
So we read a bunch of books. I'm excited to talk about them. I read Sensational She-Hulk number 10 from Rainbow Rowell and Andre Genolet. This is the finale of Sensational She-Hulk. This book has been canceled, and I think, I understand. She-Hulk books get canceled. I mean, that's the world we live in today.
Okay. I'm gonna go on record as part of the reason why this is happening. I didn't even know this was still happening.
Yeah, no, that's what this book did.
I feel like you haven't talked about it too much.
No, because it's an easy book to drop, unfortunately.
Right. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
yep.
It's a shame because like it was a fun series, and I understand that it was very deliberate in what it was doing, and the audience it was trying to capture, and unfortunately that audience isn't terribly vociferous, nor is it especially I don't know, they're not interested in shouting from the rooftops, yo, She-Hulk is great, because at the end of the day, for me, I don't know if She-Hulk was great to me. It's not what I'm looking for, but it doesn't mean it was doing a bad job of what it was trying to accomplish. And it did it, and it did a wonderful job. This finale was a finale for the audience that read She-Hulk / Sensational She-Hulk when it went from a miniseries to an ongoing series.
Nice. That, like, that was allowed, as opposed to just stopping one day.
I know. No, it leads. They got to wrap up, but Jenna Leigh's art was fine. It absolutely delivered the consistency and the grounded nature that the She-Hulk book, written by Rowell, demanded. It was, but it also towed that line between superhero action fare and melodramatic slice of life soap opera kind of story. And it was fun. It was a fun book. It was a fun series. Rowell had a very deliberate take on it, and I don't blame them for doing the job that they did on this series. I don't blame them for the direction it took. I do blame Marvel for, like, A, not marketing it, B, not marketing it properly, and C, for maybe not pushing it. There's a whole subplot in this issue where she joins the Avengers, and I don't even know if she's on the Avengers. I don't read Jed McKay's Avengers book, but I understood in this series why she wouldn't be on the Avengers, which is a question I've always asked whenever I see her in a book. I'm always like, I like Jen as an Avenger. Why isn't she just an Avenger? This book actually was like, this is why. She has a life, she has people, and she's trying to, do right by them. And the Avengers don't really care about your personal life. And I'm like,
fair.
That's fair. That's a very interesting take. It's a shame that they did it in the finale, but these are the ideas I think that Rowell would have stretched out over a period of, issues. But it was a fun book, and I liked it. For what it was.
That's great. All right. That's good.
Farewell, She-Hulk. We'll see you in another incarnation someday.
That's fair. That's
How
fair.
about you? What'd you read?
Well, actually, looking at this list, I realized there was something I didn't even purchase because I didn't see it in the list. So I'm mad at myself. So,
oh, no. It was Moon Knight.
No, I read Moon Knight.
Okay, good.
It was World Foot Knight. I was like, I forgot that. Like, I just didn't remember that. I was like, literally buying books, and I was like, there's something I'm missing, and I was like, no, I'm completely wrong, I'm thinking of something else, whatever, right? And now I'm looking at it right here, and I'm like, and there it is.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
And he's unmistakably werewolf at night.
Unmistakably a werewolf at night. It's fine. Where should we go? Let's go with Helverine. Came out this week. Helverine number 4 was the last issue of this Helverine,
of this series,
of this 4-part series. Because we are guaranteed at the end of this that Helverine will return.
Oh, naturally.
This is written by Ben Percy with art by Julius Ota. Listen.
All right, I'm listening.
I had a weird comics week, right, where it was like nothing was bad. But like nothing really this week like
stood out,
spoke to me. You know what I mean? Like it was just all like Helverine, which it's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Right? It is everything it's supposed to be. And for some reason this week upon reading it, my brain was like, this is written as though it's like, and then this super cool
just taking your action figures and
right, like that's how it felt. Even though like there's like a really like like sweet moment between Wolverine and Daken as like Wolverine like has the spirit of Bagragul inside of him. Bagragul, which I'm pretty sure I'm just saying that incorrectly, and I'm just gonna keep it up like that. I think at this point in my Wolverine career reading these books.
Yes.
No, Bagragul. Okay.
All right. Phonetically spoken out. We can see it.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Yeah.
He gets like some of like the memories of like what he is, and like Percy's just making a new Spirit of Vengeance essentially, where it's just like, oh, he was this and whatever, but now like he wants to like kill for the right reasons and get rid of all the bad stuff. And Wolverine's like, I get that. That's like me. Cool, whatever. And then like gives him back to Daken because he's like, well, I had to take the pain away from him, which made Daken die immediately. And I was like, okay, cool.
Okay.
I may have to go back and reread Wolverine Sabretooth and also some of the end of Krakoa because I thought they brought everyone back, like everyone. And I was like, maybe they missed it because that was happening, like, but that happened before.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, let's not think too hard about that because who cares?
It's a Helverine book.
It's a Helverine book. Who even cares when you have like panels of Mephisto and
demons and skulls and
like,
fire
and like all these things, right? Like that's literally a Ghost Rider book. But anyway, like So he gives them back to Dakin, right?
Okay.
And then Percy clearly needed more issues for this, and I think he's getting them, or he was trying to force this to keep going,
right?
in
Because
this issue.
apparently it is getting an ongoing, or at least
Yeah.
that's the rumor.
Oh yeah. No, I'm telling you, like it is.
Oh, we're gonna get more Helverine.
No one needs to explain to me in the comments. Thank you so much. I am very well aware.
But 3
of it.
people already have.
It's called burying the lead, folks. Get with it. Anyway, you can feel in this book Percy like setting the future up. It's like I'm simultaneously have to end this,
but also make you
make
buy
it so that it's not the end.
Right.
Like it's 4 issues. Okay. Yeah. I introduced this character that Tiffany said was kind of too late to introduce this character, but now I'm like, well, it all makes sense because you were playing a long game. You were playing a long con. Like it's like you told Marvel, like, give me 4 issues. I'm guaranteeing X amount of sales.
Yes.
That probably happened.
Yep.
And so they gave him the rest of it.
Yes.
And like he hadn't written himself in a corner because he was 99%.
Because he was saving actual story for later.
That's what it feels like, right? And I'm like, I'm okay with this because it is Ghost Rider. If you're a Ghost Rider reader, oftentimes you're just reading things because
you're just waiting for another Ghost Rider
cool.
run. Yeah.
Like, oh, that looks cool, and that's totally fine. And there are panels like that in here where it's like I'm just looking at it and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I get it. I get what we're looking at. Like we need to show things on fire and claws and whatever. But I'm like, I'm reading this book. So like I'm not going to
You saying like you already sold me.
Well, I meant like no, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying like I need to be in the right mental space for this. It's like going to a summer blockbuster and expecting Oppenheimer.
Right.
Like I'm like, no, that's not fair. That's not what this is. Like, right? Like that's not what this is. This is
so most critics apparently expect.
Well,
you're really mad.
Sure. Okay, fine.
Like how come this wasn't Shakespeare? And it's like I don't know, man.
Because
it says Marvel on the front. What do you want?
But yeah, like this is like there's gore and there's this and there's
it does all the thing. It hits all the heights. It hits all the. It checks all the boxes.
It checks all the boxes. But like there's a very non-satisfactory ending for Wolverine and Daken, which I guess works because I'm guessing Percy's hoping they can cross over.
Well, and he's back. It's like okay, now someone else can deal with it, or we'll do a like the big reunion of Daken and Wolverine some other time.
I mean, Daken's back and he doesn't have a shirt, right? I'm like, cool, all right. He's riding around, which is like it just goes to everything we all thought we already knew this, but it's just like Percy's like, no. When this spirit of vengeance inhabits the body, only his head is a skull.
Right.
Everything else is not. He's not a skeleton.
Yeah. Unless he's a Ghost Rider and he's wearing a leather jacket and he has a plunging neckline, in which case you can see and then he's definitely a skeleton.
Yeah, exactly.
With like, I don't know, hell invisible muscles, because he does fill out a jacket.
Right.
It's just,
Yeah, well, I assumed it's all fire.
Right. The fire like fills
the
clothes.
This ends with like Wolverine and Daken parting ways in a way where Wolverine's like, you're gonna be okay, kid.
Now that you're a Ghost Rider.
And he's like, I got stuff to figure out, and he rides off on a motorcycle because it's a Ghost Rider book at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's a Ghost Rider book, so he's got to ride off at the end on a flaming motorcycle, and that is in fact what happens. So yes, 100% until Helverine roars back to life.
Yeah, but like
that's what it says at the end.
Yeah, but unlike most books like this, where you're like, yeah, sure, one day, I guess.
Yes.
This is like, no. Ben Percival's writing this. You'll get another one.
It's coming. It's fine.
Yeah.
I will say it is neat that at the end of this book, they go out of their way to make sure that they actually advertise upcoming Wolverine stories.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at this bit of marketing here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like you pointed that out before with a Wolverine book. It's like they're not afraid to sell a Wolverine book, but also that seems to be the only place that they're selling books is through Wolverine.
I guess.
And I mean, shouldn't they? There are literally 4 Wolverine books. There's Deep Cut, Revenge, the main Wolverine book. Helverine is a Wolverine book, whether you want it to be or not.
It is.
There's so much Wolverine, and they're like, and we want you to buy all of them.
Yeah.
This, what this does to me, though? It speaks to the argument that like Peter David made 30 years ago, where he's like, why are they only selling books that automatically sell? Like, why are they only using promotions and marketing to sell a book that automatically sells. Like, it would be like if they took out a huge page ad or a banner ad someplace for Amazing Spider-Man.
Right,
It's
right.
like you don't need to sell that.
Well, I mean,
Zeb Wells' career proves you don't need to sell it. It just happens. People just buy it.
I would say that part of this is, and again, like I'm sure there is awareness, but sometimes we'll mention a book's coming out and people's like, I don't know about that, and you think because it has like a bigger character, you'd hear about it. But when there are 4 titles that have the same character in it, I understand
they're going to get lost in the shuffle.
Some of them might get lost, or you might assume, oh, it's like, oh, I thought this creative team was on this book, and it's like, actually, you're thinking of a different book. But also, people reading this might just be like, I'm a Ghost Rider fan.
I'm here for Ghost Rider. Well, you are not.
This is the closest thing I have to it right now.
Yeah, it's just a Secret Wolverine
because like they followed Percy from Ghost Rider over to here, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe they're like, but hey, maybe you enjoyed Wolverine. He's got a similar vibe, right? Except for the supernatural stuff. Maybe you'll like some of the stuff that's happening here. I just liked it. I liked the bit of marketing that happened in it for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's a smart idea.
That was smart. I applaud them for doing it. And like I said, like this was like, I feel like as I was reading it, my brain was just not in the right headspace for it, because I found myself being like, why is this happening? I'm like, why are you questioning
it? Because it's a book called Helverine. That's why.
So, overall, like I could feel not Percy pumping the brakes necessarily at the end, but like being like, I knew this wasn't going to be the end.
Yeah.
So here we go on to the next.
Yeah. Maybe you thought that it was, but it's not.
But it's not.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I read from the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives #2 from J.M.D. Mateus and Rick Leonardi. This is the second part of a miniseries that asks the question, what if Jason Todd didn't die, but not through a Superboy reality punch, rather just what if Joker didn't finish the job?
Where is that tail coming from?
His behind.
Oh, okay. Good. It's just in a very
suggestive place. Of course it is. It's a snake and it's a comic book. It's going to be suggestive. But so this is a story where, okay, I see what you're doing, JM. The bulk of, if not all of the narration / dialogue is from the vantage point of the therapist character DeMatteis invented to help guide Jason Todd into a path of healing that also Bruce Wayne is pursuing as well. And so we watch as, Jason Todd went through the trauma of having been beaten and blown up by the Joker, only to then try and force his Robining back and jump headfirst into a battle with the Scarecrow, only to be humiliated and defeated, and then be benched and sent away to like a healing camp for himself and himself alone. And meanwhile, Batman is just trying to like beat the trauma in like out of himself and into the underbelly of Gotham,
right,
where he is seemingly it's punctuated by him fighting Copperhead, a character you normally wouldn't fight, because wouldn't it be fun to see Batman fight Copperhead? And the answer is yes. Because there's only so many times you can see Batman fighting a Penguin Man or a Catwoman or a Freeze dude before it's like, all right, I've seen it 1,000 times.
But what if it was a snake?
But what if it was a Snake Man? And there is a Snake Man in the DC Pantheon, and it would stand to reason maybe he'd come over to Gotham. Maybe he's an idiot and he would go to Gotham for some reason. But they fight and it's fun. But also Batman saves like a child trafficking ring, and clearly Batman's like
save the trafficking ring.
He saves the children from the ring, but he also is like, he targeted that crime because he's looking to like save children. He's trying to save the children he couldn't save. And so, there's thematic relevance there. And so it's fun, and meanwhile, Joker is also going on a whole adventure where like there's a therapist character that Joker has that believes that Joker's a human being and that he shouldn't just be executed summarily for all the horrible crimes he's committed. So he's trying to reach him in some genuine way until eventually, he opens up his heart and reaches out to Joker, only to find out that it's not Joker. Joker's already escaped. And in fact, Joker's replaced by Lady Clayface, which I was like, wow, nice pull. Do you remember what year this was?
Yeah.
How cool. So that was fun. And so there's a story here, and but of course, because it's DeMatteis, it's not about Batman fighting Copperhead. That's what the cover is to sell the book. What it's really about is healing and trauma and mental health. And maybe Batman might fall in love with a therapist. I don't know. Maybe Jason will get the healing he needs and become something better than Robin. I don't know. But there's only 2 more issues left, so they better do it fast.
Oh boy,
fun story. It's exactly what you'd expect. I have there's very few twists, turns, and surprises in this book, but also I don't necessarily need them all the time.
The twists and turns.
Yeah, I'm down. And Leonardi's art is fine. again, it's a little less loose and like Klaus Janson-y than it was in the previous issue. I'm starting to get like a feel for what Leonardi's doing with this, and so it's working. It's working for it. The Joker design completely changed from the previous issue to this issue.
Right.
I prefer this one because it's a little more grounded, a little less lipsticky, a little less Heath Ledger inspired.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down.
Okay.
No surprise. I like this.
Right.
But yeah, what else we got?
Well, I caught up on Moon Knight. We didn't get a chance to talk about Moon Knight 7, which was like the wrap up of Blood Hunt. So I caught up on 7, which literally was just the heist, and it was like a really nice moment. Once Khonshu was released, and like Tigra being like, are you gonna like bring him back to Khonshu? Who Khonshu just calls it her daughter now.
Oh,
I'm like. She's like, yeah, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's like this really great moment between her and Mark as he's brought back, and which we already saw, in
Blood Hunt, yes.
That. So, just really nice, great issue. And now, so we're on to issue 8. This is Jed MacKay, obviously, on writing, and fill-in artist Dev Malya Pramanik. The art is pretty close to Cappuccio, but like in a trade, it's gonna look a little bit like Cappuccio, like try to switch some stuff up.
Okay,
but I don't find it to be quite as strong. But it does a serviceable job for this issue. In fact, this issue is like the tail end of Blood Hunt.
Okay.
And because it was MacKay's event, it's like sure, whatever.
Yeah. Not done yet.
Yeah, leading into what the next thing is, right? Yeah. And I'm like, but doesn't this only have like another issue or so? But like, who knows what'll come next? Who knows,
sure.
Right? Anyway, this is a good issue. Again, maybe this is just I was having a week. I don't know. This is a good issue, and there's again really nothing wrong with it. MacKay writes the characters
well and consistently,
like consistent voices as they should be. We get to see them kind of clean up, like post like everything happening. The fact that like Reese and Soldier can be in the sun now, and they fight some vampires, and Mark's like triumphant return, and all of that. It's all very lovely.
Cool.
It's all very, very lovely. Leading into Mark being like, I'm obviously gonna need some more therapy, and Reese kind of wrapping up on her own there, right?
Okay.
And 8-Ball being there and such. This issue to me felt a little decompression-y.
Okay.
Which I'm interested to see how this all like ends up this run or this mini series ends up wrapping up. That I'm like, I hope you don't rush it.
Yeah.
Because you had room here.
Right.
I mean, this is like a little bit of a breath, and there's nothing wrong with having a breath. Sometimes you need that, but it felt a little like wheel spinny.
Yeah.
At times.
I gotcha.
But it's a like universe I like to live in. I like the stories with the characters, so it's less of like an issue as much as it's just something I'm like, that's interesting. Like hopefully again, like next issue doesn't feel rushed, right? Because it's like, why rush it when you had extra space,
right? Except
for the fact that you wanted this to end on Mark having like a one-on-one with Khonshu, where he's like what do you want? And he's like, yeah, you know what I want, Mark. Like I want the insult to be avenged. I want you to kill the Moon Knight. And I'm like, okay, there's your hook.
Okay.
That's a Jed MacKay hook right there.
Yes.
Right. And it's like a solid like ending image. And I know everything was in service up to that point, but also like MacKay seems to wanted to put this like period on the end of the sentence that is Blood Hunt. Instead of it just being like Blood Hunt's over, you must have read that. You know what they did in the last issue. Everybody's back. He's like, no, we need to have the reunification of the team. We need to kind of show you how that all works out. We need to show you the changes. And I do honestly appreciate that. But like part of me felt like it could have been done in a few.
You didn't need
pages.
all that many pages.
Yeah. But again, that's like a minor complaint because MacKay has been like so freaking consistent with the quality of his various Moon Knight books that like really I've got nothing to complain about.
Sure.
But yeah, I am looking forward to the next one. And again, the art was good, but I am looking forward to Cappuccio's return, hopefully in the next issue.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I also read Batman and Robin. This was of course
Batman
and Robin number 12. Of course, Joshua Williamson, Juan Ferreira did the art on this one. It was, it's Batman and Robin fighting Bane and Vengeance in a in Dinosaur Island, and they uncover a secret evil scheme that involves more Venom being. The idea is that like.
Is this the one with the dinosaurs?
This is the one with the dinosaurs. They found out like
Dinosaurs!
if we run the venom through dinosaurs or something, we can make venom different and
Wait, like literally run it through dinosaurs?
yeah, like we use dinosaurs to test the venom and stuff like that, like and run it through their system in some way.
Okay. It's not like they're smuggling it in.
No, it's not like the dinosaurs are
Sir, do you have
mules.
anything to complain or to claim?
Just some dinosaurs.
Okay.
But yeah, the point of it is just to see Damian fight Bane and try and work out his trauma. It's punctuated by an actual like flashback sequence that is peppered throughout the book, which starts at the most recent period when Alfred was alive, which is going back 5 years, and then going all the way back to like the introduction of Damian in the first place. Just punctuating. Alfred has always been in Damian's life from the time when before he was Robin to when Alfred died.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Damian could kill Bane, chooses not to, and then for his troubles is injected with the super venom that makes Damian all roided out, and it's ridiculous looking.
And also part dinosaur.
I guess.
No, I have no idea.
It's weird, but it's fun, and it's like if you're looking for two fight scenes, Batman fighting Vengeance and Robin fighting Bane, you're gonna get this. Plus dinosaurs, hey. I will say there's a sequence in here where I'm like, not a sequence. I don't like this costume
for Robin.
Yeah, I actually loathe it.
I'm not a fan of it either.
Yeah, I think it's like ugly and drab. I think that it looks, what it looks like to me? It looks like an interim suit.
Well, here's the thing. All that has to happen is there needs to be a worse one, and then all of a sudden this one's not so bad.
Right. Well, and inevitably there will always be a worse suit. But just every time I'm like, I see Damian now, I just think like, man, I don't like that suit. But anyway, it's fine. Pick it up if you are interested in more. Josh Williamson is leaving Batman and Robin. So there are only a few issues left, maybe.
Okay. Will that be the end of the book, or is someone else taking?
No, someone else taking over.
Okay.
The book will continue. What else you got?
All right. So we got 2 X books.
Oh boy.
Which one do we want to start
X Factor.
All right. X Factor number 1 came out this week. It is written by, we're getting to the credits page because I want to make sure I get all the names correctly because I've talked a lot about names.
Yeah.
We're going to find it. And when we do, there was Mark Russell and Bob Quinn. So okay. Mark Russell writing, Bob Quinn on art. There we go.
We were talking about this when we first promoted it last week. You were like, well, X Factor, this is a book I'm probably like, I don't care for X Factor books. We'll see how this goes.
I've never really, it's not been like my fave. In the past, I popped in on it occasionally. I will say, let's just get right to it. Let's just cut to the quick on this book.
Yeah, why not?
This book is not bad. It is not a book that's like truly flawed.
Yeah.
It just happens to have art that I subjectively, this isn't my favorite style of art. That doesn't make it bad art, and that doesn't make it, not
inconsistent with the themes or with the story.
Exactly. It just means, subjectively speaking, I don't love this style of art. Okay, so let's get that out there. 2, this type of story is not necessarily my cup of tea either. So that said, if you liked or wanted to like Ecstatic, do you remember the
course.
all red book?
Yeah.
If you wanted to like that, but you felt like it was going over your head a little bit, right? And but you like that biting commentary, you like that sarcasm, you like that humor.
Yes.
This is like X-Force or X Factor meets Ecstatic.
Okay.
That's what this is. It's meta. It's meant to, like, there's a sequence later on where they're in like a Blackbird-esque vehicle.
Okay.
And they talk about like story and other such things. Where is it? Is it here? Yeah. If people aren't excited about the team, show them something they're excited about, and you see
the Blackbird,
the ship, right? Like, oh, okay, cool. And that's really what it's about, right? Like, it's like everybody hates mutants, which is so funny because it really flies in the face of Simone's first X-Men book where like Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine just waltz into a hospital and everything's totally fine.
Yeah.
This book's like, no, literally everybody hates them. And so what we've done is like the military paired with like a
PR firm,
like a scuzzy PR firm, puts together a team so they can like social media them and what have you, right? And that's where we are. And so we can make commentary and this and that. And like they utilize Click Clock as like the thing. And like, here's the thing. If that's the kind of thing you like.
Click Clock being a stand-in for the TikTok
yes.
app.
Yes. Obviously. If this is the type of thing you like, you might really like this book. It's just not my type of story, right? Like sometimes I like the subversive stuff, but like I don't always love it paired with humor in that way. And that's a me thing. This is a totally subjective thing. Wasn't a huge fan. Objectively speaking, at times, some of the dialogue is clunky. Like, it's not wrong. It's just there are better ways to put it.
Sure.
At times. At times. Especially earlier on in the book, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is not a book for me, and I recognize that. I'm not saying that it's a bad book, and I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy it. I'm just saying I don't, and therefore I'm not going to pick it up any longer, right? Because like it's not that I don't want to support these creators. It's just I don't get joy out of it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna pay to.
And like here's the thing. Maybe I will check it out when it's all wrapped up, right? Because it's like I do believe that you should expose yourself to new things, right?
Yes.
Like I tried this out, and I just don't. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into this first issue, and I don't know. I just could not. And I will say, like the Click Clock and the this and the that. Like I'm like, you just dated your book forever.
They always do,
right?
that,
And
though.
like honestly, though, there is something about that where I was like, is this so meta? Because like it feels like Gail's doing Uncanny.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels like Uncanny and X-Men, and a lot of these books are trying to harken back to like that like 90s time period.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that going on. I'm like, is like of like referencing things to like
surprisingly enough, yeah, a little bit. Like in the 90s, they were more just I hate to say that they were focused on story because they were really more focused on image.
No,
and lowercase I.
I am not talking about every book. I am talking
I mean
about
X-Men. Like X-Men was very
but I'm talking about like a lot of actual image capital I books that would reference things, or you know what I mean? Like they're like
even just lingo and
they were trying to use the
trends.
90s cachet of like we're cool, like we're hip, we're on the edge, whatever, right? And like that's almost what this feels like it's trying to do, but like I think it is on purpose.
Yeah.
Like I said, there is a level of meta to this. It is fairly approachable. I'd say it's not so meta where you're like, what is happening? It doesn't feel like the writer's laughing at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just not my taste.
Right.
And that's it.
That's fair. Well, not unexpected.
Yeah. Like I've always gone back and forth with X Factor. You know what I mean? Like I like them conceptually. But I couldn't really jump into their book for long periods of time, even during Krakoa, like a time period I really, really enjoyed.
That was not a great book.
And this is not even anything like that. Like I said, it really is like X-Static meets X Factor.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, it's like, oh, it's a totally different team. You'll if you want to read it, go check it out. But otherwise, like it didn't do it for me.
Right, fair enough. Well, what about X-Men? Ryan Stegman and Jed MacKay's like magnum opus. This was this is what Tom Brevoort is like is selling.
Yeah.
This is like
this is the thing.
This is the flagship. I would argue not necessarily my flagship book, but this is the flagship book.
All right. So like it sounds like this week I didn't have a good reading experience, right? But because of where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I didn't have a good reading experience, because like I said, I really do believe that you should expose yourself to things that aren't your typical taste.
Absolutely.
Right? And again, like Ryan Stegman is like an artist through and through, and like it's just that like maybe his style isn't my favorite, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. It's right. He does everything correctly, and it's just not to my taste, right? This book paired with a couple of the other things I read this week made me realize, well, it was really this and X Factor. It made me realize something, right? Where it was just like when Krakoa first started and it was coming out, and like not a lot. There were people who were like, I miss when X-Men was this.
Yes.
Right. And like, I think for some of them, what they thought was the problem is the books that is coming out from Krakoa are bad, and they're badly written because they're excluding me from being a fan of them. Right. And it's like, I could see that perspective. And that when this rolled out, There are people who are like, this is what I was looking for. This is what I wanted. And all of you Krakoa fans, you're all going to love this because these are well written and they're for everyone.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, here's the thing about that. I was trying to explain this to Sal earlier. I'm like, this is how I feel about it. It's like, this is an example. Take it as you will, regardless of if you like this food or not. But like, if you had a hot dog, right? And I'm like, I have to have mustard on a hot dog. I love mustard on a hot dog, right? And you're the person who's like, I hate mustard on a hot dog. Me having the hot dog without the mustard on it doesn't make me automatically love it. Right. Just because that's the thing you love and now it's the way you want it doesn't make it like the thing I now want. Right. Like it's the same thing with this. Right. This is seemingly we're entering into a time period for X-Men, which is just less of what I'm looking for story-wise, which doesn't make it bad. It just makes it not the thing I'm looking for right now. It's not the where either I am in my life or you know, where my brain is right now. This isn't necessarily what I'm looking for. From X-Men. Yeah. Right. And that doesn't mean there aren't some standouts. Like I'm going to give Uncanny another shot. Yes. For sure. I liked X-Force. I thought that was really fun and good. I had a good time with it. And there's other books that are coming out that I want to try and I want to see. But overall, as an initiative, it feels at times some of the big books like this, a little bit of Uncanny, like a little bit when it comes to X Factor, that it's almost like a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's a little Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. And why is it Sonic the Hedgehog? Because Sonic the Hedgehog, as we know, was created to be cool. Yeah. Sonic was crafted in a room with marketers and designers to appeal to you. Does that make his game bad? No. Yeah. Does me telling you that make every, like, the lore undo and mythos? No, not at all. That's just a fact. This feels a little engineered to be cool. Right? Does that make it bad? No. Yeah, right. No, it just makes me feel like this is engineered to check boxes. Right. And I'm like, that's not wrong. It's just how I feel about it. So anyway, this book feels like it is engineered for cool things to happen. Like there's aliens and there's this and there's that and everyone's heroic and people shout things. And this is admittedly a book that made me realize that Jed MacKay, like it made me recognize the fact that Jed MacKay can write voices differently. Like this is written in a tone that MacKay's other works are not. Right. And I think that's what made me feel last time like it was a mess. And I'm like, no, because I was expecting the tone of Moon Knight. I was expecting a little bit the tone of Doctor Strange. Those two are even have their own tone. Their own, they're like, so different from each other. Right. Like a lot of writers have like a specific way they write. Yes. And this book is written in a way where I'm like, this is not what I was expecting at all. But it's entirely intentional. I feel like everything's entirely intentional. And if you like this, I love that. For you, I legitimately do, and not in a condescending way. Yeah. Because it's like I recognize its success. Yes. I recognize why people like it. Right. It's just not something that like I'm really looking forward to knowing more about. Right. Right. You know, like I was sitting here thinking about the fact that like this team who flies the ship Marauder now, right, is a little like Marauders was for Krakoa, right? We're like, I'm going to go around, I'm going to find the mutants, and I'm going to bring it back. That's what these guys are doing right now. We're going to go around, we got to find mutants, we got to bring them to us, right? Yeah. This team is comprised of really scary people. Right. And I'm like, that's like the worst idea ever. Like, yeah, Cyclops is pretty like, you know, like innocuous looking, but like he's intense, right? Like Kid Omega, I'm like, he's not going to be like a friend to most people. Like he's very abrasive. Magic has zero patience. Psylocke is all business. Juggernaut, like you know what I mean. And then right, we're gonna change some hearts and minds, right? And Temper, and I'm like, well, I don't know who the hell you are. I don't know enough about you to make a call. But I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what a crazy team. Like Psylocke, Cyclops and Magic are going to go and like, there's like an alien invasion. They're like, all right, so like the rest of the team, you go take care of the alien invasion. We're going to go find the mutant who's, you know, like powers just kicked in and we're going to go help them out. Right. Like here we go. And I'm like, okay, you're going to convince what you think is like a teenage child to come with you. I mean, I guess depending on what they're into, but like if they're scared, like I just feel like this ain't the team, right? To be like, hey, it's okay. Yeah. Like Cyclops is the one who's got to be like, hey, it's okay. And I'm like, you have like zero chill. Yes. But yeah, like I get like Cyclops literally has a moment in here when they're that panel you show where they're running into battle, where he's like talking about the fact that he's like with like two wildly dangerous women who with like enormous swords. He's like, when I was 13, I would have thought this was heaven. And I'm like, this is McKay being like, I'm doing a thing.
Yes.
And he should be celebrated for that because he is literally embodying what they want this to be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's great. It's just not what I want.
No.
So I think I might be off this book.
Right. That's
but
fair.
Like things look cool. Like, you know, Stegman is doing like everything that I think people want to see.
Seemingly, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is successful in that way. It's just not something I'm looking for. And
Fair
so
enough.
like I think I might be over this for right now. Maybe I'll check in when someone's like, Tiffany, you got to check out blah.
What happened in X-Men?
Yeah. But for right now, this is just isn't.
This isn't doing it.
It's not doing it for me, and I feel bad because it feels like this week was not a great week for me for books, right? And again, like sometimes it's just things hit you at a time where it's like maybe you're like preoccupied or whatever. But this did give me a lot of opportunity to think about the success of being able to take an idea, right, and execute it not like in your way, but the way that it was envisioned,
right?
Like if this is what who'd you say it was Brevoort? Yeah, wants to see.
I guess.
Like if he's like, this is the type of book I'm looking for. These two have executed that flawlessly,
right?
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like without being like, well, I mean, I can't do that, so I'll just do my own thing,
right?
Like that's successful.
I agree.
But it's just not for me.
Very diplomatic. I also read Ultimates #3 from Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri. Don't worry, I also checked out Ultimates 2. It was very easy to catch up since I only was missing one.
Yeah.
And so the Ultimates, in the previous issue, basically they bring Captain America up to speed on the status quo of America. Obviously we're not in America anymore in the Ultimates universe because the maker messed it up. And so they go through, I think what Iron Lad describes as like 75 years and 9 days. Like they just basically Captain America like goes into a room and they just bombard him with history until he's caught up. And he's like,
he knows kung fu.
Yeah, he knows kung fu. But like, I love it because he just like, his eyes are bloodshot. Like he hasn't blinked in a while. He's just watching. Let's just subject Captain America to the death of America and see what he does. And he's like, all right, let's go. Let's go to the White House, I think, and take whoever's living there and kick the shit out of him. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. And what you find out is like they're actually. I think Dennis Camp may be a big fan of Dark Knight Strikes Again, because what they do is they go to the White House, where a place that's perverted by a big bad guy.
Yeah.
And then they find out that there's a superhero they need on their team, and that superhero is the energy source for like half of the Eastern Seaboard. Oh, that sounds a lot like what happened in Dark Knight Strikes Again, but it's America Chavez.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And I love it because I'm like, yeah, no one wants to use that character, or at least hasn't in a while. And the last time they used her, like they just kind of put her away. And so I like the idea that this is the same America Chavez. Like, I like the bridge. Like, no, America Chavez, the one that has like kicked around the main 616 universe, is now in this 61600 universe. I'm down for that. And so, but I also Camp bridges it where he's like, her name is America, and the whole episode or issue is kind of about like, define what America is.
Right.
Like, tell me what that actually means, Cap.
Yeah.
And so it's like she's powerful and young and she's the future. So now America's on the team, presumably. And so then we got this one, and it's funny because if you were looking for a book that echoes what John Oliver said 2 weeks ago about the like plundering and manipulation of like Native Island people, that's what this book is. And it's basically
that was not a few weeks ago. That was like a few days ago.
I thought that was 2 weeks ago because there's the RFK Jr.
Oh, okay. I thought that was fairly recent.
Yeah, it is. It's only 2 weeks. That's but yeah, the idea is that like Banner / evil imperialists did the same thing, and gamma tests irradiated people. These island people have been ruined and irradiated and their world destroyed, and but their island is sacred to them, so they're not going to go anywhere, and it's been cordoned off and no one can go there. So basically the Ultimates are like, we need Hulks. I heard a rumor there's an island of Hulks. Let's go there and get them, and then they can just roll over all of our problems with their Hulkness. And so they get there, and they run into what is, I guess, the ultimate She-Hulk, who is just, strong and big, and she's the leader of her people. And they're like, yeah, that's great. Like, if you're an example of what we have to deal with, this is gonna be awesome. And then she introduces them, the Ultimates, to like the rest of the people, and they're all like, one person is just a nervous system. And they're like, they feel everything, and the wind hurts them. So put a gun in their hand.
Oh, I wish I had read this.
Or like somebody who looks a lot like the leader, where it's like they've received, like they had thoughts that were too big and it broke their brain, and now they're here, and now I have to clean up after them.
Yeah.
And just, would you like to make them their strategist for your war? And it's like, you got this conflicting nature of like, war is awesome and cool and fun and sells books, but also it's horrible and it has casualties, and it usually is at the expense of like lesser than, or people who have been constantly exploited. So there's like a lot of meta commentary here, and yet we're still going to get a cool fight like later on, because she's like, I'm useful and I'm a badass, but like, I'm not going to help you. Like, oh no, a bunch of white people with power just showed up on my island again. And now they're going to make me lofty promises that they can't keep, like the last guys who made this mess. But basically, Iron Lad makes a deal with her, and so she joins the team, I guess. And
I suppose,
right? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm down. I'm excited, because the other thing is this ticking clock. I think it's like 17 months.
Okay.
The Maker will return. He'll come out of the cocoon, or the city city he's in. And what's going to happen? Like, basically all the heroes that are left or have been born have 17 months
to get it together,
to figure out how they're going to deal with the Maker, who is also on his own and has 17 months to prepare to destroy whoever locked him in there in the first place. So that's pretty cool. And that's like, there's a great ticking clock element, and it's directly connected with the main universe, but not in a way that makes me think like, oh, Doctor Strange is going to show up and just fix everything. Not like he ever would, because Marvel's like so hypersensitive to that concept that like Doctor Strange has actually become like rather ineffectual because of that.
Excuse me, it would be a win at this point, because that's a Hickman creation.
Yeah, Win shows up. Get out of here, Steve. So yeah, I
new hotness
right
here.
Yeah, except nobody knows who I am because somebody read my book.
I do, and he's great.
And but yeah, it's I mean, Ultimates is fantastic and cool and smart, and it's meaningful and powerful, and I'm like, yeah, go for it, keep it up. It's awesome. Good stuff. I highly recommend it. Any other books you have?
No.
All right, then before we do,
I'm mad at myself for not reading Werewolf, because maybe that would have been amazing. I would have
would have taken you out of your
But you know what? Here's the thing, right? When this happens, right? Like I had this moment today, because I had a little downtime before the show, because I had to go and get the lenses replaced for my glasses, because I have an ever so slightly stronger prescription, which is like making me like freak out, and my eyeballs feel like weird and numb. It's fine. But anyway, as I was walking around, I had this moment being like, kind of feeling like, I didn't love the books I read, right? Like, I didn't love it. And I hate having to go into a show not having at least one thing that I feel really passionately about. And I realized like how fortunate the month-to-month reader is.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because I was thinking about how like you felt about like Alien Romulus, how it wasn't something you loved.
Yeah. I loved it up until until I didn't.
But or if you see a movie that you've been waiting for and you don't love it, or you read like an actual like novel, like an actual book. If you read a novel, and you don't love it, right? It's the next chapter in something and you didn't love it, right? How long you have to wait,
right,
to get something else, if ever, right? But the month-to-month reader, like next month, for the books that I was talking about, except for Helverine, which will become something else going forward.
Naturally,
everything else gets another chance.
Yeah.
Right. Like we get another chance, and I'm like, that's really cool. There's very few medium that are like this.
Right.
That you like. 1 month I can be like, oh, I really wasn't a fan of that, and the next month can completely turn around.
That's right.
I think it's like something that makes us at times be unforgiving.
Yes.
At like occasionally, but like just to realize how fortunate we are, because it's like, even if there's like a writer on a run, like the idea of a run, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're reading a novel, no one else is taking that over. If you don't like where it's going, that's it.
Yeah.
That's over. Right? Like you're not going to have that ever again.
No.
Mostly like also with a show, right? If you're watching a show, right? Like that's it. They're the person making the show.
Yeah.
very rarely does someone else come in and go like, oh, never mind, let me fix this. But like comics, like you get that opportunity where it's like, I don't love who's writing Batman, Spider-Man, Captain America, Wonder Woman, whoever. Someone else is gonna come and inevitably write that character.
Wait another month.
It's just really, really cool. Like we're so freaking lucky that like each month is a new opportunity.
It's true.
For something to turn around.
That's right.
So I don't know. Like, I'm like,
our
you know what?
socks off.
Like I didn't love some of the books this month. But maybe next month.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be better. So
more than likely next month. Hell, next week. I'm very excited because there's a lot of books coming out this week. But before we do, what is our book of the week? What is your book of the week? For me, it's Ultimates #3.
I wish I had read that. It sounds like I really, really enjoy it. You know what? I think it's got to be Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Like I said, like it's just always so impressive to me. #8. Just the consistency that McKay has with this story in particular. Just really good stuff.
An honorable mention goes to Sensational She-Hulk for a hell of a run. You know, it was its own book through and through. It never compromised. It never blinked. It just got canceled. But as far as next week's concerned, we will talk about that in a minute. But before we do, of course, the Fear and Loathing in general says the plan of using the Authority as the boys stand-in seems to be a take on Superman versus the Elite, and I'm all for it. I think Gunn will do it well. If that is in fact the case, which I don't know if it is because we haven't gotten any official confirmation from Warner Brothers or James Gunn, but I'm excited for that. Dex Baker, before you guys need to get too deep in, I saw Alien Romulus. We need Sal and Ethan's thoughts. I don't know if Ethan will ever see that movie, but certainly I have my thoughts. Tiffany has her thoughts, and we did see Alien Romulus. Maybe one day we'll talk about it. Hulkzilla, happy Monday to you all. Always had a blast with your episodes and shows. The more fun you guys have with the tangents, the better. Thank you, Hulkzilla.
Well, thank you so much.
We're trying, man. Lotaro Medina says Ultimates 3 was my issue of the week. The data pages were some of the best I've ever seen used at Marvel. Really haunting as you see that a lot of the quotes were taken from the Castle Bravo reports from the Bikini Atoll atomic tests. Interesting. I did not know that. That's really cool and smart that they would do that.
Okay, I have to read this issue.
You got to read it.
Like, I have to read this issue.
No, it's great. I mean, it's a fantastic series. Camp is just coming and not swinging. It's a real amazing book. Mordechai says, read the new Spider-Boy, and it still baffles me how different Slott writes him in his solo run. The run is quite enjoyable, but outside it, Slott writes him poorly. Do you have any character that is similar to this situation? I think Red Hood is one of those characters where like people love Red Hood and I'm wondering why. And certainly whenever he's part of the Bat family, I'm like, I mean, like, I don't read Red Hood. I don't care for the character. I think he's better as a corpse or a memorial in the cave. But I appreciate that like people like him. I mean, the late great Betty Parter, it was one of his favorite characters. But every time that he's in the Bat family, you could tell that like people who write Batman are like, I don't like him either. So I get it. And I've heard things about Spider-Boy as well. Like I know people, I saw like a thread recently about Spider-Boy where people were like, I like Spider-Boy. Why does it people say this book sucks or this character sucks? And at the end of the day, my only answer to that really is he insists upon himself. And it's not even that. It's more like, and I saw some interesting citations. Somebody mentioned, you know, like Nick Lowe said there was no room for more Spider characters. That's why Ben Reilly got sidetracked. And then they invented Spider-Boy like in the same breath. And it's like, oh, okay, no, it's not that. It's more like F you old fans. Actually, we're just trying to capture new audiences.
I don't even know if it's that. I think they are at this point when it comes to Spider-Man, and I hate to have this sort of like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of pessimistic view, or capitalistic view. It just feels like because Spider-Verse is so wildly successful, they're like, the more we create, the more there's a chance for a payoff.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like we just keep making them, just keep putting them in, just keep making them. Just who cares? Just put them in, just put them in. And it's like that's so like sad.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the success of that, it's like just
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody also mentioned Damien. That's another character that's very controversial and stuff like that. Someone suggested I didn't get him. Bite me. It's your boy Phoenix says, "Hey guys, keep it to yourself."
No, I mean it's your opinion.
Oh, exactly. I have an opinion, and it's not like
it's
not well researched. It's just
doesn't mean that both opinions can't exist in the world.
It's your boy Phoenix. Hey guys, hope you're doing great. Just wanted to ask, will you guys be continuing X-Men on back issues? That's a great question, and we're looking forward to finding the answer to that out. We'll see.
You mean me? Excuse me.
I ain't doing it.
You keep like slotting things over other things, and then and now
I take I
October is coming, and
I know now we got to worry about the horror books, so we'll see. But yes, inevitably We will.
Yeah.
Danvy 900. I'm here for Alien Romulus spoiler review that is totally happening. I agree with RLM, where the first half was so good until at that moment. Then it was the way it ties in, so disappointing. I haven't seen it yet. I was looking forward to seeing what their thoughts were. I have the exact same opinion. I liked it up until there was a moment where the movie, where Ridley Scott showed up and was like, "Hey, whoa, you're not just making your own original movie, are you? Stop that."
You could like feel when he entered when he entered the chat.
Yeah,
he slid into their DMs.
Yeah, Ridley Scott has entered the room, has entered the chat. Sucks.
Yeah. I know you put a post out there on social about
it almost had
Prometheus.
Me. Yeah, Prometheus is gorgeous, and there's really good acting in it, and it has a really deliberate like theme and concept and tone, and it sucks. And it ruined Aliens.
You know what I realized about Prometheus? Because I know there are people who really like that movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the issue with Prometheus is that Prometheus and the other movie that followed it,
Covenant,
they should have just been their own things.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
That's what it is.
But then no one would have seen them.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that like that's where it's like that is such its own idea.
Yeah.
That is such its own idea.
Yeah.
And it like leave it to people wondering if those were connected, because like there's something to that wonder, but like that is such its own idea, and it's talking about very, very different concepts than the first Alien and Aliens, and then we're gonna talk about the other two.
Exactly.
It's just yeah. Like someone was just like, well, maybe blah blah blah, and you're like, no. Like for Sal, it's just the fact that like it's just such its own idea that it is less additive, I feel like, to that franchise, and it's a subtractive because it's like just like it's taking its own ideas and just overwriting
it completely. It robs Aliens of being itself.
It retcons. Anyway,
completely. It is a retcon. It's the worst kind. But yeah, and then of course it becomes like this reference fest, and then it's like, oh, this is just the Force Awakens for Aliens. Like that's the thing you're doing now. And that's a real shame. Like I didn't mind. I was actually not. I didn't mind any of the things they did in the first like few seconds, where I was like, wow, like returning to things and using the alien. I was like, this is a really neat idea. And then it became this horrible concept about like goo and miners, and I'm like, get out of here. That sucks. But then like all the references and like the line callbacks and iconographies and resurrecting dead people in a ghoulish way that they had no business being in. Like I'm like, they're robots, right? You don't have to be the same guy. Anyway,
I disagree with you on that one.
I loved the concept, like the concept of like them suggesting all like, okay, really quick with Alien Romulus. I don't want to get into it, but like,
here we go.
They when Andy tries to access a room and it says contact the science officer. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh my God, all of Weyland-Yutani's science officers in deep space exploration were androids, and they're all having their own like alien adventure. Like basically there could be like Alien is the only one that happened because it's the only planet where they found the xenomorph. But there are like dozens, if not hundreds of ships out there with secret robot science officers just waiting with deep programming to take over and obtain the alien life form. Cool. But then it's literally Ash. And I'm like, no, it's not Ash, it's Rook. But also, no. And only because
I like that.
For I know the State of Being Home also apparently signed off on it, so I'm okay with it. But also I was like, but it doesn't look very like it looks good.
It looked better later.
It was
but like so funny. It's like they figured it out.
Yeah, and for a minute I thought maybe like because they took a plaster cast of Being Home's face, like maybe it'd be a robe, maybe it'll be a puppet.
They're never that doesn't no, not for all. That's like no. Sorry.
Just because it was a puppet, when they burn it.
I understand. And a quick shout out, I thought David Johnson did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
And
Andy was great.
Additional shout out to Aileen Wu. I thought she was really good.
She was
pilot.
Good. Yeah. No, the pilot.
She didn't have anywhere in like I wish she had more to do. I wish I don't want to give away
She's
anything.
on all the posters.
I just wish she had more to do. I thought she was so good though for what she had. Like she was like a fully formed character with a backstory.
Yep.
Like I didn't know what it was, and she didn't have to tell me, but I'm like, that girl has history.
Yeah.
And I want to know it.
Yeah.
But I don't need to know it.
No.
Like she was just.
Yeah. Rain was fine. She was great. And Andy was fantastic. The rest were fine. Nobody was bad except for that Brit who I couldn't understand half the time.
Bjorn, Spike
Fern, boof. Like that was
the one who was yelling all the time.
The one who's yelling all the time. The one who doesn't like Andy. I'm like, enough.
Yeah. No, but
I can't understand you.
I could not get over how great Aileen like that. Like
she was great.
I just really like. I was like, yeah.
But that was
she's
dope.
doing things. She's piloting. Like her, like as an actress, was like, I'm taking control of this character, and here I go.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
But but otherwise, I mean, like the alien looked great. Like the facehugger sequences were all fantastic. Again, first hour, I was in. I love the world building. I like the planet. I like the reusing of sound and technology. The fact that they actually did consistently stick with the old alien technology. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want. Like, good, do it.
Yeah.
But then it becomes references, and it just collapses under the weight of its own inadequacies.
Yes.
A damn shame.
Yeah.
It's still the third best alien movie, which like sounds like it's high praise, but it's just because they keep making bad alien movies. Anyway, moving on.
We'll have to live stream you.
Exactly. We'll just do that.
We'll just do a live stream.
Yeah, it'll be the lowest viewed live stream we've ever done.
Well,
hey, Nikki T.
It'll be while I'm gaming, so it'll actually be
Oh,
better.
there we go. Nikki T. Ben Percy's a beast at Marvel. I remember first hearing about him as a writer for a Wolverine podcast a few years ago. Now he's everywhere. It's true that Wolverine podcast like caught people by storm.
Yes,
it's a big deal.
Sure,
and yeah, he loves that character.
He's got a crazy voice.
He's got a crazy voice. Matt 302 finally caught the show live, but wanted to say y'all helped me bring back my love of comics and consistently reading more than ever. That's awesome, Matt. Thank you so much. I'm glad we could help you. I'm glad that like we could be that source for you. Thank you. A secret boss. Good morning from Japan. Were you guys able to finish Batman Cape Crusaders? Really enjoyed it. I haven't yet, but I'm looking forward to finishing it up.
Oh man, Japan.
Right? Domo.
Ohio.
That's
good morning. I don't know. Well, they said good morning.
So yeah. But thank you. We'll watch it inevitably. But I haven't had a chance. We've just been really busy lately.
Yeah.
Nikki T. I've been reading Claremont's run, and there is an issue where Regan shows up and is referred to as such. It dates it, sure, but it is a fun time period. I mean, DC did it all the time.
That's okay. Like, here's the thing. I'm not talking about that. Like, I'm not talking about using historical figures. I'm talking about when they use like tech, like specific tech that is like clearly a flash in the pan, or makes very specific pop culture or like,
like using specifically tech. Like, I mean, like every single Marvel book that refers to Twitter.
Yes.
Cat Lawyer says started binging the current F4 book because of Blood Hunt, and it's great. Curiously, a lot of similarities to the end. First time reading an F4 book. Well, nice.
Yes.
I'm glad that's I haven't heard anything like that. So that intrigues me. I'm intrigued. J.R. Gomez, Marvel's taking over Fortnite again. Any thoughts? I saw that Doom is taking over Fortnite.
Yes.
I like the idea of Doom taking over Fortnite. I saw the trophy room. I mean, like, I don't like Fortnite, but I understand what a force it is, and I'm glad that Marvel's utilizing it.
It's really interesting that that's what a generation of people only know these characters from. That I think is so interesting, where they're just like, oh, that's from that. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, look, it's fine. Like, listen, they're of an age where it's like everything's new.
Yeah.
So wherever you see it first, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
I get that. 100%. Like, eventually if you learn to research, you learn to look things up. It's just it comes with
well,
time.
I mean, you know what's funny? What I found was I experienced that as well as a young person. And I find that the most effective method of forcing myself to do research or understanding it is from being an idiot in front of people who know more than me.
Oh, yeah. It's fine. And like, and who knows? Some of them might be converted to fans. Who knows?
Let's hope.
But I know it's also a pretty big moneymaker for everyone involved. To get your licensing in attached to that game. Although we did see someone on Click Clock on TikTok
on the tip tops
did I don't know where the data was from, so I would take this with a grain of salt, like that, like video game popularity from player base from like whatever year to whatever year, and like Fortnite came in huge, but at the end of the day not as big as Roblox or Minecraft.
Yes.
And I was like, that's interesting, because if you hear Fortnite seems like it's everywhere, but if you look at their player base, it's not as large as some of the other games.
No. Bear Farmer, the last time you were interesting is when you were dead. Batman, I think. It's true. I haven't said that about Superman, but only he said something like the last time you were inspiring was when you were dead. Scott Warren, I'm always glad to be a part of this channel. You guys help me join this amazing story community. I love listening to ComicPop because you are the community. I can share this love with others.
Aww.
Thank you, Scott. I'm so glad you could feel that way.
I love that message.
I hope to see you in the Discord, man, because that's a fantastic community that like is in real time a chat for people who watch the show and for people who enjoy this channel.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we could be that resource. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Chocobo Kid, South Tangents, take my money. Thank you very much, Chocobo Kid. RLC Comics. Hey guys, any plans to cover more of Bendis' New Avengers or Miller's Ultimates 2? Absolutely, and thank you very much for the compliment. Yeah, I mean, there no plans, but there haven't been plans for back issues in a long time. It's mostly just been like, oh crap. So, unless Jason comes to visit, and then I'm like, well, I guess we're finally doing this one. But yeah, but we are planning. And it's just
there's planning.
I should also point out that I'm excited to say,
Sal, and what he doing?
If you bought stuff from the Comic Pop shop, comicpopshop.com, which is now not necessarily closed, it's just sold out. Everything's sold out.
Yeah,
everything's shipped.
I just shook the whole desk.
Yeah. Everything's shipped, so you'll get your stuff soon. You should get a notification, I think, through Shopify, but I'll let you know. But yeah, yay, it finally happened. I'm so thrilled. I'm sorry that it took so long. It's just we went to San Diego.
He's new to this.
We went to San Diego, then I got COVID, and then it was just a whole thing. And it's just like it was just nonstop. And we had visitors from family.
It will be
much more streamlined.
Now
I had to order like boxes and stuff. Like I had to. So I have it all.
He didn't know.
I didn't know. I didn't think it was going to be that big a deal. Dan V900, Ridley Scott's involvement in Alien Earth, which is set at the same time as Prometheus, which I didn't know, even with Noah Hawley as the showrunner, stinks. I just want AVP anime to be out of the vault. I agree. I'm excited for that Terminator anime. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I heard that Noah Hawley hates Prometheus, so I'm excited for anything else. Who knows? I don't know. But let's jump into some recommendations this week that we think you should check out. Ultimate Spider-Man number 8, yay. Nightwing 114, Batman Superman World's Finest number 30, of course. Superman 17, yeah.
Wow.
Wonder Woman 12, which, by the way, I really did predict that this book would end at 12, but it is not. But Wonder Woman 12, huzzah. Wolverine Revenge from Hickman and Capullo. Oh, come on. Like I wasn't going to talk about that.
Excuse me.
You can recommend the Red Band edition.
You haven't been reading Wolverine for
no,
as I have.
Because I've been waiting for this.
Just saying.
Right. And there's more, but not a ton outside of that for me. I know that also I need to recommend Jenny Sparks from Tom King. Number 1, Jeff Spokes is doing the art on this one. And if you haven't already heard it, apparently he's also doing the Black Canary book, which is going to be exciting. And if you like Predator, hey, Ben Percy and Chris Allen are bringing back Predator in Predator versus Black Panther number 1. Keep buying these, folks, because eventually we will get something resembling a big Predator crossover like Predator versus Spider-Man or Punisher. And Avengers versus Aliens is coming soon. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the fact that Zdarsky Comic News is in its 2nd issue. That is the Zdarsky made Wizard Magazine inspired magazine concept that is going specifically and exclusively to comic book stores. This is Zdarsky's spotlight on Ryan Stegman. And yeah, just, dude knows how to do it. And I'm excited. I have not actually been in a comic book store in a while, so I have not get a chance to actually pick up Zdarsky Comic News. And I'm excited to see this. I want to see how this goes.
What a thing to admit aloud.
I know. I've been buying them digitally, or I've been having them shipped to my house.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
There's more books that you are looking forward to. I didn't talk about.
Like Wolverine Revenge, the Red Band edition, number 1.
Hooray!
Because I have to do the Red Band one, apparently. Are there more books?
Yes, Namor number 2.
Where do you see that?
Right next to Carnage.
Oh yeah, Namor number 2 is coming out. Oh boy, it's Jason Aaron with art by Paul Davidson. Yes, yes, please, more.
I mean, Mousetown's getting its 5th issue, which is pretty exciting.
Right.
I need to pick up Powerpuff Girls as well. I missed the 1st issue, but number 2 is dropping as well.
You got to do it.
All right.
You got to do it.
And yeah, there's more.
I'm sure there is.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, Alex Sanchez says, when I see a dog tied up outside, what if they don't come back? I don't have a clue where you said that, but Sal, but it sticks in my head. It's from a Letters page from a long time ago. I think that was back when Letters page was launching on the ComicPop Prime channel. Yeah, that's what we said.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my emotionality from when I hit 30.
Right.
Just started being sad.
There's another Phoenix book that's coming.
Yeah, 2nd issue of Phoenix. Hopefully there's less tracing in it. But
number 2, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They were hoping for that, I guess.
They sure are.
Yeah, guys, I'm sure I'm going to find something else to read. Obviously,
you will read something else.
I'm going to be reading Ultimate Spider-Man. You said that.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Wonder Man. Or Wonder Woman. You said that.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know. Sorry.
I was hoping there was a Helen of Windhorn in here, or or
no.
a Hellblazer, which means that they're going to come out at the same time.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Right? No. Okay.
No.
Neither. No hells.
No hells.
Bear Farmer says just another vote for Ultimates 2. Eventually we'll do it. I will. We'll get to them all. But thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, I can go back and I can read Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, there
which
you go.
I totally forgot even came out. Okay,
Right?
yay! Now I'm excited.
Yeah, there you go. You got some stuff. You got skills.
I got some stuff. I
Yeah.
got some stuff.
I got lots of stuff
Got
going
stuff
on.
brewing over
Mhm.
here. Don't you worry
Yeah,
about it.
but
It's
listen.
gonna be plenty.
Watch Tiffany play video games at twitch.tv/ComicPop and youtube.com @ComicPop Plays. Stay tuned for more. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and click the bell for notifications so you know when the show goes live, which is always on Mondays, usually around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Swing on by and keep an eye out for that ComicPop shop, because eventually we will have new inventory, completely different inventory that will be available in that shop for you to purchase. But in the meantime, if you do get your stuff, like when you get your stuff, when that stuff shows up at your house, take a picture and share it on social media, and make sure to tag us, because I'd like to see that stuff in the wild. And if you have ComicPop merch, do the same, because I know that we've sold stuff. Hell, we've been to cons, ZapCon in Wayne, New Jersey, for example. We've certainly done that. And I also want to mention that I will, God willing, I'm still on the books to write the backup for Dynamite Entertainment's Terminator series. So if you want to support me directly in some way in my fledgling infantile comic book career, subscribe to or pre-order Terminator, coming out from Dynamite on October 9th, I believe, is when it launches. And if you'd like to meet me in person, it's not 100% official, but it is on the books. I will be doing a signing of Terminator at Zap Comics in Wayne, New Jersey, the day the book drops.
Wow.
I'll be there. I'll be at Zap Comics in Wayne, New Jersey, signing copies of Terminator. So if you would like to, see me or buy the book or have me sign your book, then go to Zap Comics in Wayne, New Jersey on October 9th, I believe. But I'll stay tuned for information. Obviously, before October, we'll be doing the show. We'll promote it here and on the community tab of this channel, and of course, youtube.com/ComicPop and more. So thank you all so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to the chat for being cool. Thanks to the Super Chats for sponsoring today's show. Thank you to Tiffany for being on this show and being a part of it. And of course, we'll see you guys next time. Scott Warren says Absolute Superman or Absolute Wonder Woman. For me, I think it's Absolute Wonder Woman, but I've pre-ordered all three.
I just, what it is, I don't know enough about Superman, and Wonder Woman had a lot of keywords that really excited me.
They really hit that bell. But also Mordechai says, oh yeah, Red Primer, Clashing Colors 1 and 2. Heard about it from the grapevine. A little fun run so far. Cool.
Nice.
Check those out. But thank you so much for everybody, for everything. And we'll see you guys next time with another episode. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye.